Zed-Voices of the Youthspodcast, a podcast that amplifies.
Something that maybe you've tried, even.
No.
Kaboyes up.
No.
But would you?
But then when I'm with a certain group of people, I just end up losing myself. That should be very confidential.
We won't attack you. Don't worry.
I'm free here, but
Parauka tatukalishe mu youth. Ukalishe mu youth. Parauka sister ukalishe mu youth. Ukalishe mu youth. Panoni paseti tifuna voice ya mu youth. Ungangale ndiwe kemba. Panoni paseti tifuna voice ya mu youth. Olowenza vibala. Panoni paseti tifuna voice ya mu youth. Nabose ba ma business. Panoni paseti tifuna voice ya mu youth. Naima mu ma offices pushing at my dreams. My dreams. My dreams.
What's up? What's good and what's bad? Ladies and gents, welcome back to Zed-Voices, a podcast that amplifies with me, Tis Raw. This week of Data Project, we have an interesting episode as usual. This week of Data Project, guys, we've got another brand new. But before we go any further, if you haven't yet subscribed, make sure you subscribe and turn on the bell, any bell, whatever those things. And if this is the first time you're joining us, make sure you do subscribe as well. Otherwise, we don't know why you are waiting and what you are waiting for, because subscribing is actually free. I am with one and only Miss Something in the building. Ladies and gents, allow me to give her the platform to introduce herself. I'm quiet.
yeah. Thank you.
Welcome.
So my name is Miss Namel, or Atalia for you, but I'd rather you call me Miss Namel.
Miss Namel.
Yeah.
That sounds very abroad. You're Zena.
Mnachosa
kuti. Yeah.
Mkati.
Okay, what does it mean?
Namel or Atalia? Which one?
Both actually, because they seem to be out of this country.
Atalia means the Lord is mighty. As for Namel, that's just my surname. I wasn't really told that it has a meaning or anything like that.
So why did you just find out? Because you're carrying something. That's your name. You need to know what it means. What if it means, I don't want to say anything, but yeah, you get it.
I think I'll try to research more, but as for now, I just know what Atalia means.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool. What language is that even?
Atalia?
Yeah.
It's a Hebrew name. You know those Bible names. One of those Bible names, yeah.
Okay. Today we are talking about positive vibes, having a mindset that is very positive and, those things that you're supposed to be for you to be a better person in life. But before we go there, I want you to just warm up this conversation with one question.
Okay.
Choose one between a blind date or being locked up with a stranger for 78 hours. Which one would you go for?
Either a blind date or being locked up with a stranger for 7. I'd rather go on the blind date.
Okay.
Yeah, because I don't know what the stranger is capable of doing. On top of that, you lock us together. No, that's not safe.
It's not safe.
Blind date. Yeah.
Cool stuff. Why have you chosen that one? Really specific art.
Why have I chosen it?
Blind date. Why?
Because on a blind date, I do have the option of leaving.
Yeah.
By lying, saying I'll be back, and then I just go. But locking me up with a stranger, I think there's no running away there.
Yeah.
There's no running away there.
There's no running away.
Yeah.
But is it something that maybe you've tried, even?
No.
Kaboyes up.
No.
But would you?
No.
You wouldn't. Why would you try out a blind date?
I think it's not safe still.
Why?
I wouldn't be comfortable.
Blind dates, the blind dates, come? Which ones are those? The one where maybe you're just hearing the voice. That's type.
Kind of.
Like you haven't seen the person, but you are talking to them.
Yeah, which doesn't even make sense still.
Are you sure?
Yeah, it doesn't. For me.
It doesn't make sense. Because I think the reason why people do those ones is because I think most times we get distracted by the looks. If I just see you like this,
yeah,
like I know he's already handsome. No, she's already beautiful. So even the conversation will be different. But if I haven't seen you, you get the point.
Okay.
It's like I just want I'm only interested in maybe what you say and the type of person that you are, minus me seeing how you look. So it really goes straight to the heart and not the looks, the physical. It's the emotion, that connection that you get to create with this person.
Okay, you do make a good point, but then come to think of it,
Yeah.
if I have a conversation with someone I haven't met, yeah, we'll bond quite right. But don't you feel my perception of the person will change after I meet them? Oh, you're not what I was expecting. Automatically, even how I feel might change.
Yeah.
It depends. So if the connection is really good, we might still vibe the way we did, but for most people, it'll just turn into something else. That's where people start ghosting you now. Everything just changes.
True that. But Kylie, the whole point is you not falling in love with the physical. So it's just like what you've said, you finding out how they look, meaning you are only interested in the physical. Because you've built a connection with this person, you don't even know how they look like, but you've just vibed with how they speak, all those things. And then everything changes. But I mean, such is life.
True.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, that was just a warm up. Relax. That's not the topic for today. Yeah, we can now move on to what we're talking about. So when it comes to positive vibes, most times we get to hear it's about being happy as a person. That's what positivity is all about.
Yeah.
Is that true in most cases?
Personally, I feel it's very true.
Yeah.
Very true. Yeah.
It is, huh? Okay. What's so important about having a positive vibe? When it comes to let's begin from here. For you to be positive, I think you have to maybe get to know yourself, before you are happy. Those things.
I feel it's very important for a person to know themselves. Speaking from a positive perspective, because I feel it's important for your own mental health.
Yeah.
You have to be positive about certain things because most people have anxiety. So being positive about most things will actually help them.
But how do you get to be positive when you don't know yourself?
See, that's where the tricky part now comes in. But then it is possible to be positive without knowing yourself. But then I feel there's no point.
Yeah.
What are you positive about when you don't know yourself very well?
That's the
main
thing.
point.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
So you have to know yourself because at times there are people that feel happy when they are around. When they are alone, it's usually just sad. They feel lonely, things like that. They are only active when they are with people. Have you ever come across such people before?
Yeah, I have actually got
Yeah?
a few friends who are like that. Yeah.
Or maybe you're one of them as well. Like, do you feel more alive when you're around people?
For me, I'm someone that loves my own space.
Yeah.
So when I'm alone, I feel better than when I'm with people. I don't know if it makes sense, but
I mean, yeah. Why do you feel better when you're alone and not with people?
there's those certain people who aren't really comfortable being open around people. They might be there with you in the moment, but then in the actual sense, they're really uncomfortable because they don't know how to relate with most people. So I feel like there are two types of people involved here. There are those that really love their own space, and then there are those who love being around people.
True.
Yeah.
True. Are you passionate about something?
I am actually.
Yeah. What are you passionate about?
It's going to sound very weird, but then I'm passionate about cooking.
I don't think that's weird. I think for a guy, that's a plus actually. Who's that? The way to a man's heart
True.
is food. So if you are passionate, maybe I think we can connect mushe maningi.
Because it's something very unusual.
Yeah.
Most people be like, okay, I'm passionate about dancing, singing, painting, but then for me it's just cooking. Just cooking.
Why do you love cooking? If I may ask, what is it about cooking? There's a lot of things you can do.
Similarly to how someone loves singing, for me I feel cooking is like an art. You get to design, you get to learn new things. You can create basically anything with food, just mixing spices, different dishes. It's like art.
I don't feel like it's too much work, because I hear a lot of people, especially even girls, they would complain like, oh no, cooking, Shan, it takes time, blah 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 blah, all those things.
Okay, yeah, there are people who don't really love cooking, you can't enjoy cooking if you don't like doing it. You
Yeah.
can't enjoy doing something if you don't even have that interest of doing it.
Yeah.
So for me, there's always just that drive to create something, like cooking something. It's just for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True stuff. And I mean, how about people that are not passionate about certain things, or maybe they don't have any passion in anything? You know, what do you think about that?
People who don't have specific passion for things, then what are they doing in life? What are they doing
Okay,
in
aye,
life?
that's a good question. What are you doing? For real, what are you doing?
What
That's
are you
the
doing
thing.
in life?
Yeah.
Don't
So
have a passion.
cool stuff. With that in mind, I would like us also to touch on from passion. Yeah. Why is it important? Maybe, or how do we marry the two, passion and positivity?
How do you marry the two, passion and positivity?
Mm.
Well, I feel if you're positive about something, definitely you also be passionate about it,
Yeah.
because your mind will be set on something, and the way you do it will then be different from the way you did it back then when you went positive about it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool stuff. Can you share with us some of your strengths? Do you have any strengths in anything general, Che? What are your strengths and weaknesses?
That should be very confidential.
We won't attack you, don't
I'm
worry.
free, yeah, but
They utilize your strengths at oh, nimkari kuvaso, and then what are they going to do? Huh? What are they going to do?
I don't do a lot.
Wala.
But that's
That you have to be connected for witchcraft to work. Sinde mwe idiot. You can't just point at anyone. You're not even connected in any way to do something. It doesn't work.
You know, you'd be surprised.
Okay, share some strengths that you can share with us. I know one is cooking, obviously. Since you're passionate, that's one of your strengths. What else?
I guess I'd say I'm passionate about reading, learning things. I love learning new things.
Cool stuff.
Like, I feel staying in a certain position where you only know limited information is not okay for someone. I feel someone just has to go out there, just touch different stuff.
Yeah.
So I have that drive that just pushes me to learn new things. That's like one thing
That's very interesting. I like the fact that you brought up reading, and I would like you to just share a bit more regarding reading. You know what I mean? Like, what are some of the things that you've read, and you feel, you know, they've like what you've mentioned about knowledge and you touching on different things, all those things, like something that you read and you felt like, oh, wow, you know, this. I think I'll continue reading.
okay.
Anything that you can share with us?
I think the most common book that really moved me was Rich Dad Poor Dad. I think that book is known by lots of people.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Yeah, because it's like one of those books that changes everything, how you think about life, business-wise specifically.
What did it change about you?
You know, I'm one person that used to mainly focus on specific budgets, but at the end of the day, it's still waste money.
Yeah.
You know, you make a budget, but then you go against your budget at the end of the day.
At the end of the day, that's the thing.
Where do I go wrong? But then that book made me realize that everything I was doing was just so wrong. Everything.
What were you doing? Give us one.
So the actual thing is, I never used to make the budget before I get the cash. I used to make the budget after I get the cash. Doesn't make sense.
Yeah, Africa was with that
So that was the first mistake I realized. I was like, so this is what I was doing it wrong. People actually have to plan before, but I was doing it after I have the things. Because, you know, it was one of those situations where I wasn't sure if I was going to have money or not. So I was like, no, why should I make a plan when I'm not even
when
sure?
you don't have
Let
money?
me just write it down when I know I have the money. Yeah, so basically that book gave me all the knowledge that I have today, financially, per se.
Yeah. That's what's up. You've heard of that thing that if you want to hide something from a black man, you know, put it in writing. That's what they say, that we are very lazy when it comes to reading. They can even hide $1 million password book. Everything you need in life is in here. You will never find it. Oh my God. Why, from your own experience, why do you think people are lazy when it comes to reading?
I feel firstly people just don't have that interest in reading books, because words and pages, you know, when you look at a book and see the amount of pages it has, automatically you just feel lazy, like, you know,
like
when am I going to finish this book? And then from there people just feel lazy when they just think of how many pages that book has, how heavy is the book.
How about your weaknesses? Just one. It's okay, don't worry, it's okay. What's one weakness that you have that constantly bothers you?
That constant. Oh my gosh. Do I have to say it out loud?
Yeah.
Firstly, I'm one person that's very paranoid about petty things, and it gets to me a lot because at the end of the day, I end up having trust issues, even with people I work with.
Trust issues.
Yeah.
Nchani, what happened? Why on my trust issues? Even in my relationship,
No,
it's the
it's
same
not what you're
thing.
thinking. Okay, maybe
What
it is,
you're thinking.
kind of, but I've experienced a lot. It just changed everything.
Who broke your trust?
My backbone. She was my close friend.
And then she dated your man.
Wow. It's like you were there.
I know. So
Imagine being friends with someone for like 10 years. In fact, more than 10 years. Your childhood friend, yeah? The least person you'd expect to do something to you. Yeah.
Then they did it. They actually stole your man.
I don't know if I should call it stealing, but yeah, I was dating this guy at the time and everyone knew about it. And at the time, I wasn't always around. I would go, come. I think I only left for like 3 weeks. And then when I came back, I found them dating.
Wow.
I was like,
Manji, how?
I don't know. That's a surprising thing. I just find this message. Oh, I'm sorry, but I've fallen in love with your boyfriend.
Serious? She even texted you. Okay. And she was, I think she was really in love. For what to even text you?
I just come back and everyone's telling me, there were TikToks, they were together in the shower, and I'm like,
it's a message. Yeah.
It didn't really make sense.
Yeah.
And how she was like, I know it's going to hurt you because it's coming from your close friend. I was like, oh.
And then, yeah.
That's one thing that broke me down because I didn't expect it to come from her out of everyone.
Person that you chill with most times.
Yeah.
And in that moment, I mean, how did you feel really?
Honestly, blamed myself.
For
at some point, I feel trusting someone completely is just a mistake.
You think so?
Yeah. I learned that the hard way.
So you mean so you can't trust anyone?
No, you can trust them, but then there's just that extent, where you draw the line, saying, okay, I can trust you, but not to this extent. Yeah, you can't really trust the person 100%. That's a lie.
Yeah, and I think we can get something from your situation now, because we're just talking about positive and having a positive mindset. Okay. So what really brought you back, to having that mindset to say, okay, what, things has happened. I think I just need to move forward. And how did you cope? How did you, manage to move past that?
Okay, so I told myself I can't start crying over a man. This guy hasn't bought me a car. He hasn't bought me a house. What has he given me? Yeah. Secondly, I couldn't hate the girl, my friend. I was like, no, girls aren't supposed to hate each other over a man. So I basically let it slide. But I had that group of friends who are like, no, you can't just let her do that to you. You should go beat her. I was like, no.
Should go beat her.
Yeah, I had that group of friends who are like, no, let's just go follow her.
Let's go beat her up.
Let's just go beat her. I was like, no.
And I think that's the thing, because at the end of the day, sorry to cut you short, yeah. I think I was talking to a friend of mine the other day. We were saying, back then we used to fight a lot. Like maybe you find a guy, maybe with your girlfriend, things like that. Serious fights. And we're talking about, like, I think at this point I wouldn't find myself in such a situation where I start fighting with another man over something like that. Because at the end of the day, I think it's choices that we make. You know what I mean? If my girlfriend was to be found with another man, obviously, to some extent, maybe the girl also was playing a very big role in this. Because look at it from this angle. You and I are dating.
Yeah.
And how do you find yourself with that person if you already know that you're with me? Because as guys, it's normal for us to approach you like, oh, I like you, shan, but it's your duty to say no. You know what I mean? To say I already have someone else. And if you say that, maybe I'll even back out. I'll be like, oh, she's got someone else. But if this person consistently comes to you and you give them that attention to even find a place to where to meet, then anyway, when's in a place,
the girl has a problem.
Why is he? So why should I fight with that man or that guy?
Exactly.
Would rather the two of you will beat you up. When I'm just joking. Yeah, but those things, it's really hard these days to really have a positive mindset. There's so many things going on, depression, shani, there's social media, you keep seeing all these things. And to some extent, you feel like, maybe you're not even doing enough at the end of the day. Why is it right? All these things that we've talked about, you're speaking positive about yourself, you getting to know yourself, all these things, they help you build confidence. Yeah. Also, just share something with the people that are listening and anyone that's watching right now, like the importance of having a positive mindset.
You have to be positive about everything. If you want something to go your way, you have to be positive about it. Because you want to do something and you're negative about it, the chances are very high of it not happening if you're not positive about it. So I feel you just have to be positive in general about everything. Even though the situation might look like it's not in your favor, but then if you're positive, things change. You might never know.
And we'd like to hear some of your views, guys. Let us know in the comments. Make sure that you also subscribe if you haven't. Leave a like, share with your friends, your partners. And remember that this podcast is not a substitute for professional help. So if you're going through something very significant, please reach out to someone that can be the best to help you. Otherwise, we're just here to amplify voices and have an understanding. Otherwise, it is what it is and will always be what it will be. Let's keep it that way. It has been yours, Tisro and Atalia Nameo. Nameo, we are out. So we can just shoot 3, 2, 1.
Sessions irrelevant na mpamvu we cement no angoze baimvera bafana bakulu na angoze